Shalom, shalom, everyone. I want to come here and make this really quick video. I am reading through the book of Jasher. I have read through this book. Well, I haven't read through it, but I've read chapters in it or parts of it before. But I've been reading it from chapter 1 up until where I am now, chapter 35, since this past Shabbat. And I wanted to make this little video to encourage you all. For those of you who study the scriptures, I'm sure you know and have heard of the story about the daughter of Jacob. And I'm going to use just the regular names. I'm not going to speak the Hebrew names. I'm just going to speak, Jacob. The daughter of Jacob, Dinah, was taken by Shechem, one of the Canaanite kings, or the Canaanites that were living in the land before our family came and conquered it from them. He took her and he raped her, and he wanted to make her his wife. And so, of course, the sons of Jacob devised a plan. Simeon and Levi devised a plan to be able to go in and retrieve their sister, Jacob's daughter. And so they worked it out and was able to get them back. And the Most High delivered the whole city of Shechem into the hands of two men, Simeon and Levi. And so now I'm at the point where the Canaanite men, they saw that the whole city was slew by two men, and, they went and gathered all their Canaanite kings in the area, and they came against the children of Israel, basically, the sons of Israel, and, or Jacob at this time. And they gathered, I think, about 10,000 men to fight against the sons of Jacob. And so the sons of Jacob gathered their 11 brothers, because I believe Benjamin at the time was a little baby, maybe, because he's the youngest. And they also got the servants of Jacob, their father, and then also the servants of Isaac, their father, who was still alive at this time. And they gathered together 112 men. They said, be strong, be mighty, and not fear. The Most High will deliver them into our hands, just the way He delivered the whole city into the hands of two men. So I wanted to make this quick video, and I had to give you guys the understanding of that, so you know what's going on here if you haven't read this story before. But I wanted to read something because in the ending of chapter 34, Isaac and Jacob are praying to the Most High YAHAWAH and saying, you promised to multiply our seed from our father Abraham. You promised to, bless us and multiply us on the earth, and now protect us and deliver us from, these wicked men that are coming up against us, and turn their hearts from wanting to slay us, and put the fear of you upon them when they see us. And so now I'm reading in it, and here we are, chapter 35, and I'm going to read a couple of verses, just the first few verses. And it says here, all the kings of the Amorites came and took their stand in the field to consult with their counselors what was to be done with the sons of Jacob, for they were still afraid of them, saying, behold, two of them slew the whole city of Shechem. And YAHAWAH heard the prayers of Isaac and Jacob, and He filled the hearts of all these kings' advisors with great fear and terror, and they unanimously exclaimed, are you silly this day? Or is there no understanding in you that you will fight with the Hebrews? And why will you take a delight in your own destruction this day? Behold, two of them came into the city of Shechem without fear or terror, and they killed all the inhabitants of the city, that no man stood up against them. And how will you be able to fight with them all? Surely you know that their God is exceedingly fond of them and has done mighty things for them, such as have not been done from days of old. And amongst all the gods of the nations, there is none like Him. There is none that can do like unto His mighty deeds. Surely He delivered their father Abraham from the Hebrew from the hand of Nimrod, and from the hand of all his people who had many times sought to slay him. Verse 7, He delivered him from all the fire in which King Nimrod had cast him. He delivered him from the fire in which King Nimrod had cast him, and his God delivered him from it. And who else can do the like? Surely it was Abraham who slew the 5 kings of Elam, when they had touched his brother's son, who in those days dwelt in Sodom, and that's Lot they're speaking of. And verse 9, and took his servant that was faithful in his house, and a few of his men, and they pursued the kings of Elam in one night, and killed them, and restored to his brother's son all his property which they had taken from him. And surely you know the God of these Hebrews is much delighted with them, and they are also delighted with Him, for they know that He delivered them from all their enemies. And behold, through his love toward his God, Abraham took his only and precious son and intended to bring him up as a burnt offering to his God. And had it not been for God who prevented him from doing this, he would have done it through his love to his God. And Yah saw all his works and swore unto him and promised him that he would deliver his sons and all his seed from every trouble that would befall them, because he have done this thing, and through his love to his God stifled his compassion for his child. Verse 13. And have you not heard what their God did to Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and to Abimelech, the king of Gerar, taking Abraham's wife, who said of her, she is my sister, lest they might slay him on account of her, and think of taking her for a wife. And Yah did unto them and their people all that you heard of. And behold, we ourselves saw with our eyes that Esau, the brother of Jacob, came to him with 400 men with the intention of slaying him. For he called to mind that he had taken away from him his father's blessing. And he went to meet him when he came from Syria to smite the mother with the children. And who delivered him from his hands, but his God in whom he trusted? He delivered him from the hand of his brother and also from the hand of his enemies, and surely he again will protect them. Who does not know what, verse 16, who does not know that it was their God who inspired them with strength to do to the town of Shechem the evil which you heard of? Verse 17, could it then be with your own strength that two men could destroy such a large city as Shechem, had it not been for their God in whom they trusted? He said and did unto them all this to slay the inhabitants of the city in their city. And can you then prevail over them who have come forth together from your city to fight with the whole of them, even if a thousand times as many more should come to your assistance? Remember, they had 10,000 people at this time. Surely you know and understand that you do not come to fight with them, but you come to war with their God who made choice of them, and you have therefore all come this day to be destroyed. Verse 20, now therefore refrain from this evil which you are endeavoring to bring upon yourselves, and it will be better for you not to go to battle with them, although they are but few in numbers, because their God is with them. And I'm going to stop there. Y'all, that blessed my heart so much, because I was going through a lot of different things this past week or past few weeks. Spiritual attacks, spiritual battles, dealing with the enemy fighting against me, trying to, get me to be discouraged and war against me, attack me and different things. And I was praying to the Most High that he would, bring back the joy and the delight in my life, because I was feeling like, gosh, and at one point I was like, man, it just doesn't pay to be righteous, even though I wasn't going to not be righteous. But I was just thinking, man, it don't pay to be righteous, because it's like the more righteous you are, the more better you try to be before the eyes of the Most High, the more wicked and the more afflictions you get, the more troubles you bring upon yourselves. But I had reading this, it encouraged me so much. I wanted to share it with you all, because, and perhaps somebody is feeling like this, because the scripture says 1 could put 1,000 to flight, 2 could put 10,000 to flight. And mind you, the scripture, book of Jasher, which is mentioned in the Canaanites text 2 times, in Joshua 10 and 13 and 2 Samuel 1 and 18, for those who may be like, is this a real book or whatever? It's mentioned in the Canaanites Bible, the KJV, whatever you want to call it. So yes, and the scriptures line up. They parallel with what we read about in the actual KJV Bible. They just give a lot more backstory. But I was so strengthened and encouraged and delighted in reading this, because the thing is that here, these people who are the Canaanites, they know the stories of our God. They know the stories and the power of our God, of our strength, of our power, YAHAWAH. They know him, and it's still the same today. There's no different today, because because their ancestors still speak about our ancestors crossing the Red Sea, and the many things that he did to deliver us from the hand of Pharaoh in that day and time. They still know these stories. And my thing is that as righteous people, this is only the reason why these stories and these things were done. This is the reason why we're reading these stories, because our fathers were righteous before the Most High. And even though it may seem like, I know for myself and maybe those who's listening, it may seem like it may seem like it's pointless to be righteous because the wicked seem to be winning around you. They seem to increase in their wickedness. They seem to increase in their attacks against you. They seem to increase in just, moving forward and being able to run on this earth amok and seem like they have no cares. But the day is going to come when that's going to end. They're going to smack hard into reaping what they've sowed, and the righteous will prevail because the Most High said it. The Most High spoke it to our ancestors. He spoke it to our forefathers. He promised it to our forefathers. And this story here, the Canaanite people, they were recounting all the mighty things that our Most High God had done for us because of our righteous ancestors. And so it encouraged me to encourage you all and myself to say, keep holding on, because the day is going to come when they're going to rise up. Right now, Israel, things have transpired. A lot of things have transpired. So we know why Israel's in the state that they're in. But the righteous of Israel, they will be elevated. The Most High will rise up, and our enemies will see and recount the stories and the things that our God did, because he said he would make his name great among the Gentiles. And I believe that, it's talking about true Gentiles, not just Israelites that are living as Gentiles amongst Gentiles, but true Gentiles, those who are not of the seed of Abraham, those who are not of the seed of Jacob. He will make his name great among them. And they recalled all these things that our Father, our God did, our power did for our ancestors. And he will do the same for us. And the Most High calls the fear of him upon his people, his chosen ones, to be upon these people. And I hope I'm making sense. I hope I'm speaking clearly, because I'm just kind of like, I don't want to say rambling, but I'm trying to get my thoughts together as I'm filming this. But the main thing I want to point out is that they recounted all that the Most High did for us. We didn't have to go and tell them. They remembered themselves, and the fear of the Most High was upon them, because they remember how the Most High, our God, YAHAWAH, was with us. If we stay righteous, he promised he will always be with us. He said he will dwell in the praises and inhabit the praises of his people. He will dwell with us. He will put his name and stamp upon us, and he will be with us. And so even though right now it may seem like, sometimes the wicked are winning, or you might be having all these different attacks coming against you, keep being righteous. Keep going on and doing what you need to do. Do not be weary in well doing. Because the day will come where the Most High will cause our enemies to remember, and not only remember, but see, what he's done in our lives, and how he's defended the righteous, his people, the Israelites, the Hebrews. These are non-Hebrews that were recounting these stories and saying, are you dumb? Are you silly? You're going to fight against these people? Remember, these are the people that 2 men came and took a whole city. 2 men, and not any man in that whole city was able to stand up against them. 2, and you want to fight against all of them? Do you not realize that you're not going against them? You're going against their God. And who can defend him? Who can defeat him? Who can fight against him? And the same way that they were back in those days is the same way with us now, because our God is still the same. The promise and the covenant is still upon us the same. And he promised to be with us, the righteous ones, still the same. Just because you're an Israelite doesn't mean that you have his backing. You have to be righteous, and you have to be upright before the Most High. You have to have a pure heart before him, not just keeping his commandments, because anybody could keep his commandments, but your heart has to be righteous. Your heart has to be right before the Most High. You have to love him more than anything and everybody, anything and everybody. You have to have a sincere heart to truly say, I'm going to put away and lay aside everything that's not like him, because I put him first and I love him first, even if it's your own family, because the scripture said that these people here said Abraham was going to not destroy, but sacrifice his own son, because he loved his power, his God so much, because he loved the Most High so much. How can we sit up here and think we're going to defeat these people, even if 1,000 times more people come to and add to the 10,000 we already have? How do we think that we're going to really defeat these people who their God allowed 2 people to take a whole city? And it's just so true. The scripture says 1 should put 10,000 to flight, 2 can put 10,000 to flight. But anyway, I just wanted to encourage you all, and I just wanted to leave this with you. Stay righteous. Those who are truly going forward with the Most High, you might be going through some things right now. So the enemy is only fighting you because he wants to stop you, because he knows that you are on the right track, and the Most High is about to do something great in your life. And he's going to use you to destroy the kingdom of darkness. And he's going to use you to be the ones in the earth that he rises and elevates, because the Most High will, I believe the Most High will allow the wicked to rise all the way up just so he can bring them all the way down. And he will make it visible to every eye. And he will also allow the meek, the humble, the meek, the lowly, the righteous to be all the way down low, just so he can bring them all the way up high. Not for our glory, not for their own glory, but for his. And I believe that he's going to do that. So stay encouraged, be encouraged. And I will talk to you on the next video. Shalom, shalom. Oh, and one last thing I forgot to mention. The book of Jasher actually means the book of the upright. Jasher is the corrupted, I guess, English translation of the word Yashar, which is Hebrew for upright, righteous, just one. So this ties into everything that I'm saying about staying encouraged, about being righteous, and staying encouraged about continuing on in the way that the Most High says to continue on, to follow his commands and to abstain from evil, to, live a pure, righteous, peaceable, upright life. So the book of Jasher basically means the book of Yashar, which means the book of uprightness, the book of righteousness. So if you are a righteous person and you feeling struggles sometimes, or even if you might be good now, but the time will come when the enemy will test you and try you and come up against you, I encourage you to read the book of Jasher, because it gives a lot of background to our the stories about our father Abraham. It shows more about what he was like and how righteous and upright he was in the land before the Most High and before men. And it just gives a lot of background and a lot of history. And for me, I don't know about you all, but for me, it encouraged me to continue on and to desire to be even more so like the Most High, even more so like my ancestors who came before me. And so I just wanted to add that little tidbit because I forgot to mention that in the first half of this video. But I'm going to leave that there, and I'll see you all in the next video. Shalom, shalom. Okay, and this is truly the last thing. I forgot to say this in the other video as well. This is why it's so important for Israel to be righteous, because when our ancestors were wicked, the Most High took his hand and his power from us, and therefore we were defeated. We were slew by all of those around us, and our enemies had their way with us. But it is important for us, and it behooves us to be righteous, to set ourselves away from those things and those people who are not righteous, that those people that are doing things that are displeasing to the Most High, and that can and will turn our hearts from the Most High. Because as long as we are upright before the Most High, there's none that can defeat us. There's none that can contend with him. If Yah be for us, who can be against us? But that's only through us being obedient and living a righteous, pure life before the Most High. So it behooves us, to be righteous. And this is why our enemies that have captivity with us or over us, so to speak, this is why they want us to stay in sin. This is why, and I'm going to get probably, I don't want to call it deep, but some people might get offended, but I don't care. This is why they want you to keep worshiping on Sunday and having your pleasure on Saturday and going to, your football games or your grocery shopping in the mall, getting your hair and your nails done, whatever, on Saturday. I did all those things too, and I grew up keeping the Sabbath. And then I got, big and bad, and I, went off and I strayed, and I started working on the Sabbath. I started getting my nails done every Saturday. I was doing those wicked things, those unrighteous things, knowing that that was not true. But I was following the ways of the land. I was following the heathens and the Gentiles. This is why the Most High said, learn not the way of the heathen, and envy thou not your oppressor. But I was doing those things even when I knew they weren't right. And that's why I couldn't do them for long, because the Most High brought me right back to what I knew was the truth. But this is why our enemies wants to keep us, in sin. They want to keep us worshiping on the Sunday. They want to keep us eating unclean foods. They want to keep us fornicating. They want to keep us having a lifestyle of lasciviousness and idolatry and pagan holidays. They want to keep us in the darkness and not knowing who we are. They don't want us to come together. They don't want us to know who we are, even though they knew all along who we were. At least a portion of them, maybe not every last one of them, but a portion of them. Those who had power over us to oppress us, they knew who we were, and they knew why they were able to oppress us, because they know that we are the children of the Most High God, the Most High power, strength, and might of the nation of Yisrael, or Yasher. They know who we are, and this is why it's important that we forsake them and the ways of the things that they do, because they do not have a heart for the Most High, and their heart towards us is to keep us in a state of being turned back against our Father. Because as long as we are in sin, our Father will not fight for us. He will not defend us. But as long as we are upright and righteous before him and keeping his commandments, living a holy, quiet, peaceable, righteous life before him, loving our neighbors, loving him, doing all that he commanded us to do, as long as we're doing that, or when we go back to doing that, keeping his statutes and commandments, and not letting people lie to us and deceive us and tell us that the law is done away with, that we can keep Christmas because it's just fun for the kids, or it don't matter what day you worship on because, you know, as long as you worship in the Most High. This is all the stupid stuff that I hear black people say in my own family. This is the stupid stuff that I hear. Oh, it's just this one-time thing, or I don't care. I mean, it's not that big of a deal. The Most High is not going to care. He know my heart. All this ridiculous crap that we've allowed the enemy and our enemies to feed us. This is why if we keep doing these things, the Most High's hand will not be upon us. As long as we turn away from those things and go back to what we know to do is right, there's no one that can defeat us. There's no one that can contend with our God, our power, our Allahayim, our Most High YAHAWAH. There's no one that can contend with him, and he will elevate us and establish us in the earth. Because remember, Isaiah 62 6 and 7 says, those who remember the Most High, those who know him, and remember him is key, because our people have forsaken him. They've walked away and whored after other idols and other gods, and they've divorced our Father, because our God, YAHAWAH, is married to us. We are his bride, and he is our bridegroom. He is married to us, the marriages. Anyway, we are his chosen. We are his loved, his beloved. Okay. And those who have forsaken and divorced him, refrain from them. But the Most High said in Isaiah 62 6 and 7, those who remember him, because he's going to cause Israel to remember the Most High and his ways, and we're going to loathe ourselves because of our wickedness and our evilness when the Most High brings back to our memory who we are. Okay, those who remember him, keep not thy silence before him. Okay, because keep not thy silence, and keep praying to him until he makes and establish, sets up, constitute, and makes the foundation of Jerusalem, and puts it together and makes Jerusalem a praise in the earth. Okay, that's Isaiah 62 6 and 7. Those who remember the Most High, even if you're around other Israelites and, they just going on, doing whatever they want to do, those who remember the Most High, keep not thy silence. Keep praying and seeking his face. Keep praying to him. He will hear your prayers. Those who continually seek him and are diligent before him, he will hear your prayers and he will answer your prayers. Keep not thy silence until the Most High establish Jerusalem and makes our praise in the earth. So that is it. I definitely did not intend on making this video this long, but it was a blessing to, for me, and I pray that it be a blessing to you and whomever else hears this. And so I'm going to leave that there, and I'm pretty sure that's the last thing I have to say. I will see you on the next one. Shalom, shalom.